I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to our very special series for students preparing for competition. It could be Olympiad or Waterloo, the Gauss math for grade 7 and 8 students. I am sharing with you some of my questions. Normally, they are only shared with the students who join me. Well, the problem here is to add up this particular series, which is half plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 and so on till 1 by 1024. Multiple choice question, 4 choices are given to you. Select the right answer. Now for grade 7 or 8 students, this is a very difficult question. What kind of strategy can they adopt to solve such problems is what we are going to discuss in this particular video. Remember one thing, all the competitions, they give you an opportunity to learn, to apply your learnings and gain some confidence. And that is what we provide to our students. So I'd like you to join my classes by sending an email on the given address. It is not only going to help you to be better, it can also help you to really excel your own performance and achieve success. Now, let's talk about this particular question. We need to add this particular series which has a lot of numbers and all of them are fractions. Well, in the middle school level, we are normally very afraid of these fractions and therefore attempting this question becomes very, very difficult. Now, here is a very simple strategy which any grade 6, 7 or 8 student can apply to find the answer of this particular problem. And we are going to discuss the same just now. Well, when you see this, you see that in the denominator we have 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 8. It is kind of half of half of half of half. That gives you an idea, right? Perfect. So a high school student can easily solve this using geometric series, right? So for a high school student, it is a geometric series. So we'll also see the solution for a high school student later, but let us first focus on our middle school students. How will they do it, right? So now, we realize that we are adding the terms, which is half of half and things like that. Now that gives us an idea that let's think about a circle. We're looking for a strategy, right? So we have something like a whole. The options also include 1 in the option, right? So that also gives you an idea that we are looking into something which is very close to 1, okay? So let's take circle as a whole. Whenever you talk about fractions, think about a circle as a whole and then divide this into equal parts. It makes sense since circle has infinite symmetry. Perfect. So now let's do it. So first portion here is half. So let me make half of the circle and fill this up. So we got that much. Now moving on, let's take the second one, which seems to be 1/4. Okay, so 1/4 means the remaining part I can divide into 2 equal parts and then shade that also. So we have taken care of the first 2 terms, right? Now how about the third term, which is 1/8, okay? 1/8 is half of 1/4, right? So I'm doing half of this and I'm going to shade this out. Perfect. And now let's take the next portion, which is 1/16. 1/16 is half of 1/8. So if I shade this up, well, that is what it is. And similarly, we can just continue doing it. Now, if we continue doing it, what really happens is half of half of half, we almost reach to fill this up. Do you see this part? We almost reach to fill this up, right? So I'm just showing it with these small lines, right? So Finally, you will notice that we have almost filled the circle, but still a bit of it is remaining. Just a bit of it is remaining, and that indicates that we are very close to 1, but we have not filled it completely, right? So it is not filled completely. Do you realize that we say it approaches 1? It is not 1, right? It is not 1, correct? It is not filled. You will notice that if you do half of half of half, there will be some portion of half left, correct? That portion of half left is the gap, and therefore our answer is C, 1023 over 1024. Makes sense? Perfect. Now let me also give you the algebraic solution which our grade 10, 11 and 12 students will answer this for, right? So let's now provide you with algebraic solution. It is good to know that also, right? So the high school students can actually adopt this. So we're trying to add this particular series, which is half plus 1/4 plus 1/8 plus 1/16, right? Plus so on, plus 1 over 512 plus 1 over 1024. So the last number here is 1024. 1024, does it remind you of something? Well, what is 2 to the power of 10? Kilobytes, you remember? 2 to the power of 10 is 1024. So that means we have 10 terms, right? So in all, we have 10 terms in our series. We need to find the sum of this series. Okay. How do we find sum of this series? Well, you can say it is being multiplied by half, correct? It is being multiplied by half. We say first term A is equal to half, and it is being multiplied by half each time, right? And then we know there are 10 terms, and we can use the formula of the sum of series for these 10 terms, which could be A 1 minus r to the power of 10 over 1 minus r. So we could use this particular formula to get the result. You get the idea, right? So that is one way of doing it. Now for some students, let me just show you alternate way of doing it. Taking the value of a as half and r as half in this particular formula can be difficult to work with. Again, you are working with fractions. You get the idea, right? So how can we avoid that portion? So this is a hint for our high school students. How do we attempt this particular question? Well, you could actually rewrite the series, right? You could rewrite the series by taking 1 over 1024 as a common denominator, right? So if you do that, in that case, what happens? Well, in that case, we have the series starting, this portion will be like what? If I want to make it 1024, I have to multiply this by 5112, right? So I actually have a series here which is like 5112 plus, because I'm dividing by 1024, right? Plus half of this, which is 256, right? Plus so on, right? And then at the end, we have the numbers as 2 and 1, correct? Makes sense? So we have this particular series right there, right? 2 and 1. Well, here, starting number is 5112. So A will become 5112. Why not rewrite this as 1 over 1024, and then within brackets, let me rearrange them as 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus so on till 5112. You get the idea. So now we have 10 terms, right? But this time the value of a and r are natural numbers, right? So what we have here is that a is equal to 1 and r is equal to 2. Makes sense. A is 1 and R equals to 2, and we still have 10 terms, right? This is 2 to the power of 0, and that is 2 to the power of 9. So we do have 10 terms which we are multiplying, right? So you see how we have this particular concept, right? This is 4, sorry. Okay, let me just correct that one. Correct. So do you see how we have simplified our calculations? So that is also a very good strategy, and that works for all of you, right? So problem solving is very interesting. We have to see best ways of solving a problem, and when you are in a competition taking on these multiple choice questions, you have to adopt the most effective strategy to be right there on the top. And that is what you learn when we come here in our classes. So I'll welcome you all to join and understand how beautiful mathematics could be, and this journey of learning can be a source of inspiration, and excel your skills by joining our classes. Thanks for your time and all the best.